Welcome back to another episode. My show is officially 1 month away. 1 month away from my solo show. 1 month away, 1 month and some change. And a week away from graduating from grad school. I'm I'm so tired. I am like actually so tired. It took so much to get here today. Like I wasn't feeling well. I had a migraine. I'm a migraine sufferer. I have like light and sound sensitivity, so like it literally puts me in a place where I cannot leave the bed for anything. Um, I had to take a little Benadryl, saw the Hat Man for a little bit, and now I'm in the studio. I had a little crisis with the gallery that I'm the curator for. We're in the process of like renovating and changing our systems over from like Touch Designer to Bright Signs. And like one thing I recognize, like it started off as a Touch Designer thing. And when I say like studio, it's a 9 channel video installation. So it's like um, three different walls, 4 channel wall, 2 channel wall, 3 channel wall, and they're all using this one Touch Designer patch that is older than when I got here, which I got here 2 years ago. So yeah, we're changing those over, and I just been having problems with the system and the show that I was talking about yesterday, Club Cunt, that I'm curating. Which is actually really good. It's just that the patch itself keeps like shutting down or like restarting, and that makes it so like the show that's supposed to be on for like 24 hours constantly, it keeps stopping on the 3 channel wall, and it's really annoying. So I had to come here on my sick day to uh, fix that. Even though I'm not feeling well, my mind has been doing like 100% of the work. Like I think that's why I don't feel the best. Like my mind is just like I changed the name of my show. I will not be revealing it yet. I think it's just between me right now, me and my advisors right now. Um, I changed it from If Not Now When to something that I feel speaks more towards like my message and my art practice. I'm someone when it comes to curation, when it comes to literally anything, like once I get a title, oh, it's over. It's up. Like I just have to stick it to that title. And like I've had the title If Not Now When since last year, and I've just been trying to merge or take everything and put it into this. But it's like everything, like my films, Salah and my other film, Alien IRL, is like they're suffering because of the name, is because it's trying to like hold up a weight to something or give meaning to something that doesn't just speak to it. So I changed it, and I think it's a lot more powerful now. Um, I think my show title is a lot more powerful now, and my it speaks to my show and my work. Um, yeah, I don't want to talk about it because I feel like every time like it's a month until the show, I feel like I can hold on to the title for at least 2 more weeks. Um, but just know that like my practice speaks about like the Black femme image, the Black femme body, and like how um, to like authorship of ourselves, but at the same way as like we don't need to be put into a genre or a box. Like my work is fighting against the need for um, to be understood or like to be coherent. That's what my work is fighting against. It's just like the need to be coherent. I feel like within blackness, especially like as a black woman, is like we have to stick into these like categories, into these boxes, and if we don't stick into that box, then it's like you're we don't no one knows where to put you. And my thought process around that is that we don't need to be in a box. We don't need to be like consumable. And a part of my thesis, I'm talking about like if you know my work or if you're familiar with my practice, I'll just talk a little bit more about that. And you'll see me close my eyes just because I'm not feeling too well, but like I'm very passionate about this subject. So it is what it is. But yeah, like the idea of being captured, or like the black femme body as an asset to be captured. Like, is this, like, what is that, in its sense? And I feel like, um, in the beginning of photography, when photography first came around, it's like we, it wasn't, it the how how can I say this? We weren't always the main focus of capture, so our capture hasn't always been correct. And also, like, the idea of capturing the black body is extremely political. It's always been political, like, from photography. And even if you think, like, when photography first started coming out, what was going on in these crises. And also, like, when you think about video, when I like me using certain screens or certain things, like, there's a whole conversation between green screen and blue screen, when presenting blackness, because green is always like a harsher scale. And then you whenever that's kind of what I'm talking about in Alien IRL too, is like the idea of these screens as mediators, or these screens as the able to show blackness, and like the idea of showing blackness, presenting blackness, capturing it in a sense, because it's like it comes back to this very colonial idea, is very like prison institutionalizing of the black body, the black image. Specifically, I'm speaking about like mass circulation within regards to the black female body. Like, I talk a lot about Sarah Bartman and her in her process. I think probably in like the third or fourth episode, I went in depth about my studies with Sarah Bartman. But more so, wrap it up really quickly, and not to say like in a bow, because her history is very sad and is very important. But she's a South African woman, who was essentially sold into slavery and was put into a circus and exhibited across Europe. And even after she passed away, mass circulated. They cut open her body, dissected her, and then put her organs on display in exhibitions. And then also, you know, produced from the dissection of her body, they produced medical studies and medical studies and things that are still perpetuated today. Um, and her work is just really important to me because it makes me think about the position I'm in. And in comparison, I compare myself to her a lot, because when you think about Sarah Bartman, she's just very current, especially in the age of like BBL culture. And in the sense of like when you're thinking about fashion at the time as well, like to think of the body, to think of like the shape or the curvature of the butt or the breast, or like the augmentation, and how her natural body was used also. It was basically disregarded in a sense, but also like a muse. And I'm thinking about that dichotomy that's propelled to today through photography, because that's kind of like, it's not where it began, but in the capturing of blackness, that's what perpetuated it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what my studies are about. And like my show is about like the need to be seen, the need to like the need for authorship, the need to um make claim to things, because if you don't, then your history will never be yours. And that's kind of what like my work is about, is like reclamation, but also like um not in a idealistic sense. Like, I feel like a lot of the times, especially when we're in institutions, it's like we have to be the one to not only provide the evidence, make the new title or whatever, give it a name, define it or whatever, do the history, whatever, and then we have to wrap it up in this little tight bow for it to be seen or understood in this like institutionalized sense. And that's where the problem lies, is that we rely on these institutions, we rely on these like um, places to um, describe and also like propel our history and like move our history forward. And like we have to recognize that these institutions, they don't have our best foot forward. They're literally just money making vehicles. And also like they're also upholders of um, colonialism. They're 100% upholders of colonialism. Like they're not, it's like in a way it's like institutions or even like schools in general, they're researching these it's more so like if you look at any of the big movements coming up, they're like even going on right now in regards to um, Gaza and like for example Columbia University or other universities. Like it's not about what's right in a sense. It's not about there's a real strong sense of justice that is missing because that's not what the institution is about. The institution is not about justice. The institution is about the documentation and recording, and then they get to move or decipher in some ways. Like they teach you this history, but not in a way for you to then become an anarchist, but they teach it in a way for you to then say, oh, this boom boom boom, this is what happened, this is the setting, this is the plot, this is the climax, this is it. And then see it as this like digestive thing where it's not didactic, it's not something that you can like take something from, is more so like you just have a position in. And I've learned that from a long time. Like even when I grew up in Philadelphia, grew up public school, all of that. So like it's so funny like talking to people about like geography and history and certain things like that. Like certain things they're really not teaching you. Like I didn't know. I did not have any geography teaching in Philadelphia public school. 100%. I went to Hamilton Middle School. Where students gain the knowledge to go to college, but I did not learn anything about history or geography. I learned about American history. I learned like the same three things about American history from elementary to high school, basically, except for high school. My high school did a really good job because we had African American history and we had this teacher who was like really um, passionate about teaching us these facts and teaching us these um, what happens because it's real and it's important, you know. So little rant, little rant, calm rant, but that's why that's why the research that I'm doing is important. That's why I'm kind of like it's important for me to stick to who I am because if I was having a really important conversation with my advisor yesterday just about like I was talking to y'all about like justice and like kind of doing what's right and me feeling in a way that this need to like strip away everything that I've built because I feel like it doesn't position my position me in this way to not to say succeed, but it's just I don't know. It's like it makes me feel like I haven't done enough or I'm not enough in a sense, or like the work that I've positioned myself, the studies I've been doing is not important. And that's not true. It is very important. It's very important into how not only I see myself, but how the world will then change and become like I'm creating actual history. Like the book that I'm writing, my thesis is actually going to be published, is actually going to be in the library, it's actually going to be something that I'm selling and producing. I'm producing knowledge for people to digest, but also like something that I hope will change perspectives. Like I don't believe that me myself, like me one, I can change the world and my art is so important and it will change the world and it'll make this and that. No. I just hope that um I just hope that someone can understand, or I hope that it allows, it creates this like feedback loop that creates discussion and dialogue. Because I feel like a lot of the times that uh, the feedback loops become, I always talk about the Merkaba. Let's talk about this. But it always becomes sort of like this is just like is stuck in this cycle rather than it being something that you're like gaining from or you're like learning from or you're growing from, you know. And that's the type of work that I want to make, is that not only in discussion but in practice. It's something that like it's a book, you say you read really popular book among my demographic for some reason, really popular book in my demographic for some reason is 40 Laws of Power for some reason. Especially like people who have been to like juvie and like prison, they love 40 Laws of Power. Um, I've read the book. I've read that one. I've read Art of Seduction, all of that, but not in the sense of like for me to then take what's learned and then perpetuate it. It's more so like understanding the feel as though they mind of individuals who lack empathy and feel as though a way for them to succeed in life is to disregard and manipulate. And it's really interesting to me about like right now is like a lot of the times people don't really understand things. They just like say a whole bunch of stuff and hope that they sound smart, and then it gets reinferred, or then someone like takes on from the conversation into like a jumping point. I know that from like Twitter. That's why I love Twitter, because a lot of people just like arguing, and without having the uh one, you don't need like degrees or anything to be smart, but they don't have any of like any background in what they're talking about, but then stand as like these like authoritative makers on a certain topic or something like that. And it's very annoying to me, because it's like it's the same thing when I speak about like 48 laws of power. It's like people want to be right, or people want to have some like sort of like hold onto something, so they take it as a way to um defy, but in a way to like make put themselves on this pedestal. And I think that all comes back to colonialism. Stay with me here. Just like the overall need to, be right, or be a winner, or come out as number one, or, you know what I mean? Like that winner mentality, that like what I talked about yesterday, the need to be excellent. Um, the need to be excellent. I feel like within my practice, I just do a whole bunch of social experiments. Like a lot of the conversations I have, or like certain places that I go to, or certain things that I seek out, is more so for the experiment in a sense, or like to understand. Like I always want to understand someone else's perspective, or understand where someone else is coming from, so that takes me into these like um, puts me in these positions where I have to not change who I am, but like really listen to gauge and to understand. Um, yeah, but I don't know why, but my mind is coming to the Body Keeps Score, um, that book, and just the course of like how do you digest things, or like how do you make sure like what what you're digesting, or what you're learning, what you're going through, isn't like necessarily like a product of the times we're in, because I feel like everything we do right now is a product of the time we're in. But like, if you think deeply, like what are you perpetuating? Like, what are you, what of like colonialism that like you're perpetuating? Like, is it this like this system where everything needs to be either this or that, like this black or white kind of thing? I'm completely against that. That's not something That's something I'm stepping away from. Like, not everything is either right or wrong, or in this like this weird spectrum of things. And um, sometimes I'm learning the reason that I was doing certain things is to uh, uphold that same colonial um, ideal or standard. Um, and I've been thinking really deeply into stuff, and that's kind of why I changed the title of my show to Also, I changed the title of my show because I titled the same title that would be for my show that's next month. I named it for one of my applications for Brick TV, which is my films are showing, kind of as like TV episodes, and the show is called If Not Now When. So I didn't want to like double use it. I feel like it's its own thing when it lives in a different like way. Like, for example, like I'm showing the same things for my solo show that's gonna be on TV. However, the solo show is more of like a physical space. I have this space I'm showing in three different galleries. I'm showing in the Immersive Gallery, the Robert Turner Gallery, and I'm showing in TSI Harlan Snodgrass Gallery, and like that's and how I'm shaping it, and how like the works I'm showing, and like what does that mean, and what does that do, etc. So that's kind of the story, I guess, for that. But I don't know. There's a lot of things that I want to do. There's a lot of ideas that I have, and they're kind of at this point melding into one because my show my show is a month away, um, and like I keep changing how I want to show things, how I want to present things, and I keep coming back to this like paralysis in a sense where it's like, yes, I want to do this thing. However, it cannot it cannot be to the point where it breaks me, or in a sense where it's like I don't want to be overly redundant. What I was talking about yesterday, like I don't want to show my film and then next to it shows stills from the film. Like that's super redundant, that's repetitive, that's unnecessary. I want to have something where people can not necessarily, like, yes, I want it to be interactive, but not interactive with the way, like with the literal way where it's like you're moving things and you're shifting things, but like interactive where it's like your mind is visceral, like your mind gets to um you get to think, you get to practice, you get to explore, you get to engage with these certain things. um but yeah, that's kind of what my mind is on right now. It's very scary, low key. Like my show is a month away. I'm graduating in a month and some change. Life is happening really fast, and I don't know kind of where I situate myself in it. Um, I feel that if I get a little bit more rest, I don't have a migraine anymore. I do need to eat though. So I'm gonna talk to you later. Uh, it is Wednesday. This is the third week of this series, and you know, I'm holding myself accountable to posting every day, even if I am not feeling well. And this is just a challenge for me to verbalize my thoughts because I have an issue with verbalizing things, um, which is crazy because I have a Cancer Mercury. You would think someone with a Cancer Mercury would be able to communicate on like multiple levels, but I don't know. It's just something that's really internal about me is like speaking or feeling like I have a voice. So this is what something that gives me a voice, gives me something to um, channel, um, channel what I'm thinking, channel what I'm experiencing, channel what I'm going through. Because every day is a new day, and um, I like looking back at all the videos that I post. I don't really care about the viewership or whatever, and that's not to say I don't care about those watching. I really do. Um, but it's deeper. It's deeper than that. It's way deeper than that. But hope you have a great day. I hope that um, you come back tomorrow. I hope that I feel better tomorrow, and I look better. Right now, my fit is really corny. It's raining. I got my Hilfiger sweater on. This I've had this sweater since 8th grade. Uh, got off a Depop as like a steal, and I like putting my thumb holes in here, so it's very distressed. Uh, but yeah, that's my talk for today. See you next time. Bye.